Hi, this is Lex Michael with Popcorn Talk, and I am coming to you from San Diego Comic-Con, and I am speaking with Anthony Ferrante. How are you, sir?
I am doing fine.
So you are the guy. You are the Sharknado guy.
It somehow happened, huh? 4 movies in.
So I genuinely want to know, is this something that you approached the Sci-Fi Network with, or did they come to you? What was the genesis of the series?
I was writing a lot of stuff for Sci-Fi a few years ago, and I was doing a lot of horror-related stuff, more creatures and suspense and ghosts. And my occasional writing partner and I, Jacob Hare, we were trying to come up with the most ridiculous title, and he goes, Sharknado! And then I think we came up with another one, Lava Birds. And then we pitched it, and they said, nah. And then I made a reference to a Sharknado in the Leprechaun script I was writing for them, and they go, we want to do it now. So that's the evolution of Sharknado. It was just like we wanted to come up with something completely ridiculous, and we loved the title. We thought it was so silly, and we saw the potential in it, and we always believed in it. So it was fortunate enough that I got a chance to direct, and here we are 4 years later, still making crazy, silly, ridiculous movies.
Yeah, and you're making one of these a year, and they're really connecting with people. You seem to have found this really cool balance between horror and absolute absurdity that people love.
There's also this bizarre family values thing to these movies too. Kids can watch them.
Sure.
So, there's not like people saying, "Hey, let's go in the woods, have sex, and get killed by sharks." It's this family trying to survive Sharknado, and it has this sort of kid-like sensibility because it's always this non sequitur, ridiculous kind of thing. So I think we've captured like a cross section of people that either love us, hate us, just want to embrace how ridiculous we are because we have no rules. So when you have no rules, you can do anything.
Sure. Well, so you're now on Sharknado 4, and you've taken the sharks to space. Do you feel that there is a pressure with each subsequent installment to try and one-up yourself? And once you've gone to space, how many more times can you up that ante?
Well, yeah, that's the challenge. Every time you do it, you got to go, well, we've set the bar high. But go back to what some showrunners have said in the past is like, when you're doing a series, you don't know if you're going to make it past the second or third season. So if you have a great idea, you go, oh, we'll save it for season 7. You just go for it, and that's what we did in 3. We go, well, you know what? We're going to do a space movie and tag it on at the end of it. And this one, we keep finding ways of doing it, but I think the mix of stuff is that we keep playing with different genres. So we did a space movie, we did a White House Down with Sharks, right. And so this one we kind of do Las Vegas, the destruction of Vegas. We do a pirate movie at a certain point, and it's also sort of a unofficial superhero origin movie, even though it's not a superhero movie.
Okay.
So we get to have fun in different genres and get to do things. This movie also is a little more meta, I think, than the others too.
How so?
There's a little more awareness of Sharknadoes in the Sharknado universe in the movie.
Okay.
I mean, I have Wayne Newton singing the theme song, so I mean, it's pretty cool. And we also there's a little more humor to it this time, not in the sense of everybody's playing campy, but in the sense of we had Tommy Davidson playing a character in there. He's from In Living Color, and he's a really funny comedian. We wanted him to play a real character, but by nature of him being in there, a little more character humor came out of it.
Sure.
Because the character is kind of this big bravado, like, tech guy, like Steve Jobs, and he puts on this persona like Trump, but deep down, he just wants to save the world. So.
Well, and it's exciting to hear you describe the evolution in that way, because I feel like the only way you sustain any series is by growing, changing, adapting. So being that you were talking a minute ago about pulling different genre elements into different installments.
Yeah.
You could essentially make these forever if you were so inclined. Yeah. So my hope, for example, what are the odds, let's say we get to, if we're so lucky, we get to Sharknado 17.
Yes.
What are the odds of like a Busby Berkeley style throwback with sharks and tornadoes?
Well, that's something I was kind of pushing for on I was actually trying to do a step up thing in the I think it was the 3rd movie. We actually had a big dance sequence. We were going to do that. It didn't happen.
You were blowing my mind.
No. We were going to try to do some version of that in this nightclub. I wanted to have this whole scene where these girls are at a nightclub and it's so loud and so much stuff's going on. People are getting taken out by sharks, but no one's paying attention because it was too loud in the hotel. So yeah, because I had done sort of this sort of hip hop dance commercial. So I wanted to kind of bring in our choreographer and do something like that. That didn't happen. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. We finished the movie about we just delivered it about a week ago. And the movie was all done and locked, but I wanted to do an animation thing for the main title sequences. So 4 weeks ago, I found this amazing animator named John McGuire, and said, okay, we're gonna do this sort of mini Finn adventure, but in animation style for the credits.
Sure.
And so we came up with this sort of post-apocalyptic Finn Terminator shark idea for this main title thing, because I wanted it to be like a comic book thing. And so we kept coming up with ideas that we hadn't done in these other movies in this little thing that we literally put together in 2 weeks. And so there's still so many ideas left.
Right.
And the hard part is about this stuff is it's like, okay, we've done everything we wanted to do, and then like on the second movie, go, yeah, well, the next one it'll be like White House Down with Sharks, and I'll stop myself and going, I can't believe I just said that, because that's going to be the opening of the next movie, isn't it? And then of course it was. And then we were finishing this, I'm going, I know what the beginning of the fifth one is, and I don't tell anybody anymore because I don't want to bring it up.
Sure.
And I know what, if there's a fifth one I'm involved, I think I have an idea of what the opening to the fifth one would be, mixing a genre that would be completely ridiculous and take us to the next level.
Okay.
So there are still many more things to desecrate.
I am really holding out now that you work this dance number into one of the future installments.
I would love to do it. It's actually really fun doing that dance stuff. It's also incredibly complicated, and when we have our tight schedules, it's a little difficult to pull that off.
Okay, one more thing I have to ask you about, because I am a big fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and you managed to cast Caroline Williams as the same character?
Yep. Look at Sharknado. Finn goes through Texas. We can't do a movie where he goes through Texas and not have a Chainsaw Massacre.
Of course not.
So then the next logical thing is, how do we make this work? And so Caroline wanted to be in the last movie. It didn't work out because we were shooting in Orlando and all this stuff. And when this opportunity came up, I go, we got to get Caroline in here, and we got to do Stretch. And it just kind of worked. And I go, well, if we're doing Stretch, then we need Chop Top, which we don't have Bill Moseley, but we have an homage to that. And we had to have a Leatherface, so we sort of kind of found an unofficial Leatherface that's in the movie. And our line producer ended up being Grandpa.
That's great.
And so it was fun doing that. This movie actually allowed me to kind of do a couple of things with franchises I love. We did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I'm also a huge Christine fan, and I met the owner of the Christine car, and I kept fighting to put that into the movie. I had to I had to give up a few things to get the car in the movie, but we have Christine in the movie too, and she has a pretty nice part.
That is insanely cool. Anthony Ferrante, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate
and
it.
Sharknado 4 releases July 31st. On Sci-Fi. Be sure to check it out. This sounds awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Say, may the chainsaws be with you. Ready?
May the chainsaws be with you.
There you go.